basically I want to talk about how beauty is something that is innate, and it can only be, you are the only gatekeeper. You are the one who will say you are beautiful and feel you are beautiful and know you are beautiful. And I think it has a lot to do with unworthiness and these patterns that are very common in our society. So basically, I think society has trained us to believe that there is a ladder, and there is a summit, and there is a prize, and there is sort of this field that we all play in, or this perimeter, or this fence, or this very specific set that has been encoded in our fields, or patterned or conditioned into every one of our fields, and it's collective, but also it's almost like an imaginary panel of an imaginary panel of judges that we believe we need to impress, and that need to say, oh, you're a 10, you're a 10, you're a 10. And we are all competing on this one track, or this one ladder. And what I want to talk about is how this, well, it dehumanizes us and it objectifies us. And I believe that it's kind of like boxes that we need to check off and say, okay, I'm beautiful because I'm this, and I have money, and that's why I'm worthy, and that's why I'm famous, and that's why I have recognition. And we're all kind of fighting, and we think we want that, but I think it's very clear if you've met or you've seen into the inner workings of people that have what you so-called want, like a model or a rich person or a famous person, you would see that it really doesn't satisfy them. It might satisfy them at a surface level, but it's not. It creates this violence and say there's this jealousy or this competition, or we're all fighting for this, or subconsciously are unable to see our own beauty because we're looking at all these external ladders and codes and permission slips. Like, I need society to tell me I'm beautiful before I can feel that I'm beautiful. So it creates this coveting, this wanting, this jealousy, this idea that we're looking at all these famous people or these beautiful people or Instagram people or whoever they are, and we think they have something that we don't, but in the process it dehumanizes all of us, and it does a disservice to all of us. And it keeps us contained within this little kind of character dance or kind of mask dance where we are basically staying confined to these characters or these masks, or saying, oh, I reached the summit and now I have the prize because I'm beautiful, right? And I'm beautiful and I have money and I'm famous and I did the achievements. So now I should be beautiful, right? But I think we all know that it's never enough. So it creates misery for the people that have it and the people that don't have it, because it's just a lie. It's a massive collective lie that has been told by pop culture. And there's this like separation worship game of all the people on TV and the gossip and the constant onslaught and the glorification of fame and all this social media, portraying the best parts of us. So we're all fighting to get that. But what I think is, it's such a disservice and it's an insult to your soul, really, to believe that having that or achieving that top of the summit will make you happy or will make you fulfilled, because like I said, all the people who have it, they realize it's not enough, and it makes them miserable, really, because we've believed the lie, or we've fallen into that trap of believing that there ever will be a summit. But you don't want a summit. You want eternal exploration of who you are. You want eternal union and intimacy with yourself. And I think that's an ever deepening process. Every single day it deepens. So what I would say is this process of finding your own beauty is basically about self-realization and realizing that you don't need to give authority to others. You granted that authority. But it's not your fault, because it's what we've all been programmed to do, to believe there are outside authorities that can make us feel happy, with like culture, social media, fame culture, all these things. We have kind of this, in my generation, and we have this like embedded narcissism, because the digital self and the managing and the maintaining of the things you put online, and you have this kind of static character or figure that you are, and it's not realistic at all. So what you really crave is complete intimacy, complete union, complete recognition of self. And I think for me, what happened was, in my process, was it's almost like uncorking a bottle under that pain or that fear or that allegiance to the mask and the character of like, oh, am I doing okay? And like, can I be beautiful? Can I be cool? Can I be this? And all these external things. And when I just went into and dived into all those fear programs and all those walls and just shattered it, it's like uncorking a bottle. And then what happens is there's all this love that wants to flow up from your heart and say, let's be intimate, let's get to know each other, let's get reacquainted, because this society basically just amounts to you people being supported in running from themselves and using these external markers and these external benchmarks and these races and competition. But it's all a lie, because the idea of competition, the idea of coveting what other people want is absurd, because you are completely unrepeatable. You will never exist again. And what you have, you could never repeat what I do, and I could never repeat what you do. You're just completely unique, and so unique that it's just so absurd to think that you would want what anyone else has. So I think when you are able to look at yourself and say, I am the authority over what is beautiful. I am able to accept myself for what is beautiful. I am able to see myself through the lens of love, get to know myself, and basically let all those walls come down. And this took me tons of years of solitude and looking at difficult things and looking at the kind of self-hatred and looking at these mind programs that tell me I'm unworthy and that we all struggle with, because I think it's in the collective too, in the programming and TV and all that. So I think it's almost like it's a code in your field. And I think you can almost read it on people. And I think it's extremely even more difficult for women because of the kind of sexual objectification and all that. But it's like a patterning or a code that you can feel. And in your code, what you do is you announce it to the external projector screen. Like, I'm not worthy, I'm not beautiful, and I can't see myself as beautiful and free and amazing. So I'm not going to let you see it either. And that's so common that, you know, the idea that we're looking at these deities on the television, that we worship them because we think they have something we don't, but they just know that they're worthy. They just know that they're worthy. And what I'm saying is, I can't give you anything, and no one can give you anything if you're already have announced it, and it's like a pattern or a code or an operating system that's in your field that says, I'm not worthy, don't give me love because I'm not worthy, and I can't give it to myself. So in turn, what you're giving to yourself, the world will give to you. It's all just a hologram. So it's like we've all closed, and I had that too, where you're just fighting to get out under that, but it's like this collective construct or agreement that we're all unworthy and we've given away our power. And we can't see ourselves in our true shine, and we're just contained to these masks. Like this very low frequency of just staying confined to these masks and these characters. So I think if you think about the most beautiful, popular girl in high school or college and compare that to the girl who's overweight and, you know, is not getting male attention, is not popular, I would say they are both equally miserable. They're both equally enslaved because they have been objectified. And they have been dehumanized, and all of us have, from the programming of this society. So, because the girl who's getting all the attention from the boys is not really happy because she knows that the boys are just trying to get to be with her because of her looks. So she feels objectified, she feels miserable, she feels enslaved. And then the other girl on the other end of it is like, I don't have any of that, I want any of that, I need that, I can't. But it's not. It dehumanizes all of us, is what I'm saying. So, and like I said, it's much more difficult for women, but I think when you start to meet yourself and you start to come in closer to yourself, you cry out tears, you cry out pain, you cry out trauma, and you start to see, like for me, I've spent so much time alone in solitude and just continually trying to be more intimate with myself when I was afraid of myself my whole life. But I think we are programmed to be afraid of ourselves by this society. So it's normal to have that fear or that phobia of like, what's in me? What's special about me? There's nothing good inside me. There's nothing amazing inside me. It's all out there. I need to go get the money, and I need to get the career, and I need to get the woman, and I need to get this status, and I need to be good looking. And the programming is so insidious that we can't see it because it's so deeply embedded in us. And I would say that when you can let your mask come down and start to see yourself and see yourself through the lens of love, see this apparatus of consciousness and see yourself through that lens, that's, for me, that was the only, I couldn't see anyone else's beauty, and I couldn't let anyone in, and I couldn't let anyone believe I was worthy until I did it myself. So, and once you do that, it's ever unfurling. It's like unrolling a ball of yarn. And I think it's, when you start to come into the realization as, okay, you're eternal love, you're infinity, you're God, you are one aspect, you are one heart in the collective heart, you're one fractal of soul light in the collective. It's just like you got to die and let those walls come down. And it's hard because we're so programmed with this mask and this character. And I think it's almost like a dynamic, even with modern dating. It's like there's so many other stereotypes and kind of checking off these boxes that come in by the way you look, your age, your status, your career. And it's sad to me that we're supposed to stay confined to that, because it's like we miss out on those beauty and vulnerability and depth because we're blocking out the parts we don't like. And a person will be limited in the way they see you if they're limited in the way they see themselves. So it's like what I was saying before. If you can't see your own beauty and your own depth and your own, this infinite mystery, this infinite evolution, then you can't see it in another person. So you're enslaved to playing that character of who your wife thinks you are or who your husband thinks you are. And I know that's how it was when I was in past relationships, because if I couldn't see myself, all I'm ever doing is just playing that character that's confined to that role. So what I'm saying is it's an infinite mystery, and I think every day you're deepening. You're meeting a new part of yourself. You're meeting a new part of love. You're learning why are you here. I think that's what you really crave. And when you think about people who are not happy, they have it all, they have billions, they have wife, kids, whatever, everything they could possibly want, they will tell you that it's not enough. Or they have this, some people have this malaise in their gut of like, I wish I did this, or I wish I did that. It's just not enough, because you're confined to the character and you're confined to the mask. And what you are really craving is complete union, complete intimacy, complete depth in finding the deepest love in your heart, the deepest pains in your heart, and everything. And when you can see true beauty must come from you. It can't come from anyone else. It can't come from any other authority or any other permission. But it's like I had to get all that out of my head, all this programming that was in me, and that we're all fighting to break free of like, I'm not worthy unless I have these followers or these people telling me this or this validation. And it's so deeply embedded in us that it's such a battle. For me, it was, at least. But like, when you can know that you're perfect on your own, and you're perfect who you are, and you're perfect because you breathe, and because you perceive a world before you, and because you're alive, and because you will never be repeated for eternity, and you are a unique expression of God. And that's the only reason you're beautiful. That's the only reason. And there is infinite exploration into what you are. And I think when you see that, you stop demanding that other people give something to you in a relationship, in friendship, in, achievements or recognition. And you realize that you don't really need it. Yes, it's nice. It's a nice icing on the cake. But if you're not solid in who you are, it can make you go crazy. And you're just chained to that mask. So I would say when you're feeling all these new parts of you, then you realize that everything in the external projector screen, all the people you meet, all the friends, everything, they're just aspects of you. But really the control panel for this aspect of God that you are, your heart, everything, you have such access to all this creation inside you to create your reality from the inside out and cut out or pull out or forgive or heal or mourn all those parts of your heart. And once you do, you stop needing those lessons, or you stop needing to learn through lack or fear or people that don't approve of you. And it just makes me sad when I see that. And I see that in a woman or a girl or whoever. I think it's more predominant. I don't know the experience of being a woman in this world, but it's so heavy in them, the programming, the objectification, the dehumanization programming. And it's almost like if someone were to say, she's vain because she's a supermodel and she's narcissistic and she has everything wrong, like screw her, whatever, like she doesn't have problems, she doesn't have anything, this is equally dehumanizing to the one who is not attractive or who is considered ugly. They're both equally enslaved, like I was saying before, and is it even that woman's fault if she has become narcissistic, or has she become completely consumed with her beauty and unable to see herself only because the society told her that she's nothing more than beauty? So she's just a victim of the same programming. It's just societal. It's all systemic. So it's like living in a prison, or we all have to play these characters, and if you don't play these characters, you're not worthy. And then we're all vying for the top spot. But the top spot there's nothing there. It's not what you actually want. What you want is to find the deepest parts of yourself and know how beautiful you are and come into recognition of yourself as God expressing itself, an infinite fractal of source with which there is magic contained in, a lot of magic, like miracles, magic, surrender, this heart-based consciousness that is everything. And we're taught into this society to cap it at a ceiling, reach a prize, reach a summit. But what an insult and a disservice to your soul that it does to say that you could ever be at the finish line, because you don't want that. You don't want that. What you want is eternal evolution. You want to continue evolving, continually go into deeper and deeper and deeper forms of love and recognition and union and intimacy with the one infinite source creator. And who is that? It's you. It's all of us. So when you come in to recognize it as yourself and know that you were never apart from it, you only lived in a society that told you there were all these external things, that's when you can change that patterning, like I had and like many people have, to say, okay, maybe first the pattern saying, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, and then you announce it, and then your field reflects that and gives that back to you, because it's a holographic reality. Your thoughts and the state of your heart is giving you back. You're being given it back on the projector screen. So you can change that, and when you can go into that deep depth and union and all that with yourself and loving yourself and be like, wow, I'm so beautiful because I'm completely new and unique and I'll never be repeated. And what I always craved was this intimacy with myself, to continually get to know myself and know that, yeah, all these other people, they're just aspects of me. And when I improve myself and I do that heart excavation, you're changing the whole reality you perceive before you, because you're just another fractal of a soul light as me. We're the same thing, really. So when you change your heart, you're changing the entire source field. So you're changing that patterning to be like, I am worthy, I am beautiful, and I accept myself as I am, no matter how I look, no matter how much money I have, no matter how many followers I have. And your world will reflect that. It's just that we've been so enslaved to this, the sex appeal programming on advertising on TV, and we're programmed to see a mask and see a woman or man, whoever on both sides, but as nothing more than a sex object and a prize and a crown, and it objectifies and it dehumanizes all of us. So I would say just, it's not easy, but it's like there's not this thing that pop culture told us to fight for and to vie for. It's just all a lie. So you have to like revamp and cleanse out this whole operating system that said you're not worthy and you're not deserving and you're only deserving if you have this, and this box. But that's not true, because you're beautiful and perfect just as you are, but it takes work and surrender and going inward to start to see that you're the gift. You're the gift, and it starts with self-recognition. You can't give your authority and your permission. You can't grant it outside. But that was programmed into us, to think that it needed to be granted from outside. And that's what we're fighting to break free of. So thanks again, and I'll see you soon.